What up? It's JR Megatron. This is episode 1 of the Gangsta Rap Odyssey, where we just check out gangsta rap, baby. That beat you hear in the back, that's my cousin, Dre 40 Ounce, the homeboy Soundwave. I love it. Hey, our first record that we gonna be doing today is MC Ren's Ruthless For Life. This came out in 1998. Do you guys, maybe some of you guys weren't even around, but 1998 was a bomb-ass year in hip-hop. Let's go over Lorenzo Patterson first, though. Born in 1969, not to age him, Lorenzo Patterson, as we know him, MC Ren. You know him straight out of Compton, N.W.A, baby. He was that guy. The muscle in N.W.A, and the guy who stepped up when Ice Cube left. He's known as the villain in black, the ruthless villain, the Vil, Ren. That's about it, man. He don't got many aliases. A lot of rappers have a lot of aliases, but Ren just pretty much is the villain. I don't know if we need to go over his history, you know, where he was born. Compton, of course, you know, hanging out, Kelly Park. I don't know nothing about, you know, the Crips and all that stuff and how he met Eazy-E. None of that really matters today. This is not a history lesson on MC Ren or Lorenzo Patterson. This is about Ruthless For Life. This record came out in 1998. I think it was June 30th, 1998. Man, I was fresh out of high school because I failed a year. But whatever. You know, I'm supposed to be fresh out in 97. Regardless, who remembers? Who was around in 1998 checking out the magazines, you know, Rap Sheet, The Source, of course, and seeing these ads for MC Ren's Ruthless For Life? I had the single, I remember it. I bumped the hell out of that Ruthless For Life track. And I think Side B had the clean version. That was all there really was to it. Thing about singles back then, man, I used to just burn out on those songs, man. So when the record came out, I was already burnt on that track. But I remember trying not to do that with this one. But man, that Ruthless For Life single was fire. It was fucking dope. And then it was on BET, the video. You know, they had a video for that. It was pretty dope. We'll go over that later. But, you know, this was the last record on Ruthless Records that MC Ren dropped. Apparently it was dedicated to Eazy-E in the hometown of Compton. Of course it was. Aren't they all? You know, aren't they all? This was his last record for the next 11 years. Yikes. I remember, let's get rid of that background music. My bad here. I do remember when he dropped Villain in Black. I think that was 96. And then we had to wait 2 years for this. It seemed like an eternity. As we all know, 2 years was nothing. This album debuted on the number 100 on the Billboard Top 200 with its first week of sales, 21,000 copies. According to Wikipedia, the album sold to date 175,000 copies in the US and 220,000 copies worldwide. So not the biggest hit record. Not to be, I wouldn't say this was Ren's fault. We know that Ruthless Records was under the thumb of Tamika Wright, who had no clue on how to run a record label. We can blame her. It's okay. We can blame her, Time, history hasn't been that kind to her. But at this point, we know what happens. So, 1998, summer of 98. The record stores are swamped with No Limit records coming out every week. Every week there's a new record coming out. Some of the OGs are getting lost in the mix because of the oversaturation of these new rappers. Some of them were, let's just say they were not ready to stick around for a long time. One and dones, one hit wonders, if that. Not every rapper can be Scarface and Too Short. And 98 was one of those years where we were seeing a lot of hip hop come out, a lot of gangsta shit come out. But the ones that made classics stuck around, I'll tell you that, man. I'm talking Devin the Dude, Ice Cube, of course, 8-Ball MJG, MC Ren. So that was 98, man. 98 was a dope-ass year in hip-hop. This record had some of the best producers, man. I'm talking Amp Banks, LT Hunton, T-Mix, Bob Cat. There were some other producers on here that are lesser known. We'll talk about them. The track listing. This record has 12 tracks. Total length time of about 50 minutes. It's cool, It's all right. Ren never did drop like a double disc or anything too lengthy in his career. So, first track, though. Let's get started, man. Well, let's talk about this record cover first, We got MC Ren, Ruthless For Life, the record cover here. We got Ren. He's kind of in the forefront of this with looks like a cradle to the grave type of environment or background, It looks like a baby stroller in front of a graveyard where quite possibly the DOC took the picture to his No One Could Do It Better album cover. The graphics used here, we got Ren, MC Ren. His name is like made of steel. It looks like steel. Every record that he drops, he always switches up the logo, The first one, he had that long R with the circle. It kind of looked like a blade, actually, that R with the drip coming down. The second, some weird font for Shock of the Hour. The Villain in Black. I guess the Villain in Black font wasn't crazy. It was just the title that looked like it was chalk or something. And then this one right here, I guess it's almost the same now that I think about it. The Ruthless For Life logo or the title might be the same one that they used for Villain in Black. I'd have to really look. It does have that chalky look. Let's just take a, I don't know, man, out of curiosity, because this is the Odyssey and we're just going to do nerd shit. I'm going to look to see if the font is in fact the same here. Let's see. We got to look for common letters, of course. You guys know how to tell if a font's fake, right? Or a font is a font. Or if it's someone's drawing skills. This one's going to be tough. Everything is like in all caps almost here. Ruthless. Okay, there's an I here. What do you know? But I think the Villain in Black. No, the Villain in Black was actually hand drawn. It's like somebody took chalk and wrote the Villain in Black. No font, no computer there. They almost tricked me on the title for Ruthless for Life, because it's a, but you know that it's computer generated. So fine, whatever. It's a rough looking font, but you know it's computer generated because the S's match. The one on the villain in black, the eyes do not match. It's pretty cool. Anyways, moving along, that's the record cover. You know, it's not too bad. You know, I like the record cover. I think it was cool. So that's the record cover. We got some context to the timeline. You know, 98, coming right out of high school, aging myself, no doubt. But it is what it is. Let's get going though. Let's talk about these tracks. Let's go ahead and talk about the first track here. The first track, Ruthless for Life, you know, that was produced by, back then, was the new and upcoming producer L.T. Hutton, who actually did work on N.W.A first. Apparently, Ruthless Records stole him for a bit, and I'm sure L.T. Hutton went back to N.W.A and did some work later. I think we should look. The saga continues. Ruthless for Life. So right off the bat, we got the title track here. You know, L.T. Hutton on the beat. The track has some throwback references. You know, I love the respect that he gives to the homies here. You know, he goes over a little bit of his own history. You know, 5 niggas out the CPT, fuck you, you know. It's cool. You know, he's just talking about time changing, things, life, man. 1989 is the year when he first came out or busted out in the world, that's for sure. Damn. He just goes over a lot of history of this, man. He just talks about Eazy-E. His flow is dope. You know, he's on fire here, man. Like, right now, MC Ren he has not slowed down. You can argue that he's hitting his peak, though. Like, this is he at the top of his game here, arguably. Villain in Black, maybe that was it, but this ain't bad. So, let's talk about the production here. L.T. Hutton, he worked on several projects on N.W.A Records. I'm really reading off Wikipedia here. Then he became the head of AR at Ruthless Records, Interscope Records. He did some shit for, let's see, Das, Snoop Dogg, Superfly, Mariah Carey, Ray J, Da Brat, MC Ren, and Eazy-E. He's got songs and films, including A Thin Line Between Love and Hate. Okay. Yada, yada, yada. Oh, and he did a lot of shit on Bone Thugs Resurrection and Thug World Order. I gotta check out that Thug World Order production list. I know he did a lot on Bone Thugs Resurrection, but I did not know about, at least not off the top of my mind, you know, Thug World Order. He also has music on Tupac's Pac's Life record. Was that like a post, like was Pac already dead when that came out? Probably. He co-produced the bio-epic All Eyes on Me. Okay, that's interesting. So he's, you know, he doing his thing. So yeah, L.T. Hutton. What do you think about this track, though? You know, in 98, it was mind-blowing. I thought that this was a good step in the right direction for Ren. For Ruthless Records as a whole, really. LT gave them a updated sound, you know. Not that Rhythm D was outdated, but let's be real, man. This was like close to the year 2000. We needed some new flavor up in there. L.T. Hutton was perfect. This track was perfect. A couple questions though. Who's the diss to on this one? Dre and Snoop turned you out, now your crystal sipping, y'all fools be tripping, make the West look like ass, all full of shit. I think he's talking about some death row members there, invested drug money and still didn't hit or something like that. And I wonder if he's throwing a diss out to the pound, I don't know. All I can do is speculate and wonder. So, Ruthless for Life, yo. Dope track, dope way to start the record off. Let's go to track number 2. Who in the fuck? Y'all know T-Mix is on this beat. T-Mix, dope producer from Suave House Records. I mean, he's like, I don't know if you want to say he's responsible for 8-Ball and MJG's success or whatever. Like, was he their Dr. Dre? I don't know. In my mind, he was. But I am not a Suave House expert yet. What can you say, though, 8-Ball and MJG, dope collabs, give the South some love. And as we know, back in this era, the South was huge. So if you could get some of those listeners from the South, you could sell major units. Apparently that didn't work, though, in this case. But it's all good because we got a classic track. MJG, 8-Ball, and MC Ren? Damn, who saw that coming? Like, nobody, man. I remember seeing that. I was like, what? Unbelievable, man. I loved 8-Ball and MJG, man. That No More Glory record, I think that was 97. And 8-Ball Lost, was that 98, 97? Classic. God, I love that record. Anyways, he's getting his love from the South here without having to tap No Limit Records, which was very polarizing. That label was polarizing. We know it was, man. I was there. People loved or hated No Limit Records. What camp did you fall into? Let me know. Let me know what you think. Either way, man, No Limit was making millions. And you could say that their tactics were kind of, I don't know, sleazy. I don't know. A lot of people said that they're biting their shit, I was in that camp. I get it, I was in that camp. I was a kid. I was offended. Either way, it's hilarious to think about now. These are record labels. Master P, the businessman that he is, whatever. Still doing his thing, apparently. He likes to make the news still. This is the year 2023, and sometimes I still see a headline with P in it. Now we got Ren here, and he's flowing. I think his flow, I wouldn't call it soft, but man, it is smooth on this track. Oh, he's got a video for this shit too. It looks very southern, It's dope though. It's dope to see Ren, in the flesh, and of course 8-Ball and MJG. Those guys are legends, no doubt. It's a laid-back track. T-Mix is just proving that maybe he was the Dr. Dre of Suave House. Could have been of the whole South, Suave House was doing it big back then. They were getting respect too. Not much polarizing about them. They didn't hardly have any controversy. They had the whole beef with Tila, who went to Rap-A-Lot. Does that mean Rap-A-Lot had beef with Suave House? I don't know, man. I don't know. So, who in the fuck? Dope track. Let's move on to the next one. That would be a nigga called Ren. Man, you want to talk about hotness back in 1998? Do you remember the streak Aunt Banks was on? Dude was killing it. Hit after hit after hit. Doing his shit for, you name it, Too Short, N.W.A, doing big things, and countless other records. Aunt Banks was a made man. This was another surprise track. Like Ren and Ant Banks, damn. And I tell you what, Ant Banks delivered. He was putting a stamp all over the map, you know. But this time, he was collaborating with the Ruthless Record member or an N.W.A member. More importantly, though, or more uniquely, I should say, he was on a Ruthless Records track. Maybe the only time that he ever was in the studio, or at least his beats were on a Ruthless Records album. I was about to say that he never did tracks with any other N.W.A members, but that's not true because we know he did some, or Ice Cube was on Big Things. Sometimes you find an Ant Banks track out there in the wild by surprise, and you're like, "Damn, I didn't know he did any more." Of course, we know about Mount Westmore. You know, he did some shit there. But about this track, nigga called Ren, you know, you gotta love Ren's flow on it. He's on top of his game here. You know, this is some of the shit that is. It's a little bit lighter than some of his classics like Villain in Black and Shock of the Hour, of course. You know, you got Ren over here just, I don't know, acting a little more social or something. I don't know, man. I always pictured Ren as being some kind of asshole or something, but, you know, what do I don't know him personally. I don't know, man. But, man, he's killing it on the flow. He still has it here, you know. And Banks doesn't disappoint. The beat is a classic Ant Banks track. Like, it's undeniably Ant Banks. It's got all the cool sounds, the bass, you know, the keyboards, some of the horns. It all just smells like Ant Banks. You gotta love that funk. So it makes you wonder why they didn't give Ren the keys to do more collabs with some bigger names, you know, a little sooner, you know. I don't know why. They just didn't, though. But, you know, I'm not sure what the environment was like at Ruthless Records in that entire era, you know. So, dope track, though. Let's move on to the next track here, Coming After You. After years and years of not talking to each other, just kidding. I don't know if Ren and Cube didn't communicate. But they certainly were not on tracks together. But here they are. Coming After You. First of all, we got Bob Cat. DJ Bob Cat on the beat. Now this beat is bumping, man. Like you can cruise and bump this shit, man. Like, boom, it's going to hit. You got to love the content of the song, too, man. They just slapping down these bozo new booties, you know, like OG Big Dogs would, right? Who the fuck you think you're talking to? Real niggas coming after you. That's right. It's, you know, they dissing these rappers that are just comedy. These exaggerated, do you remember the record covers back then, man? Everything exaggerated. Like album covers with mansions and zoo animals, you know, the shit was hilarious. And Cube comes in, you know, this is the Don Mega era. He just as mad as Ren at all these guys, man. Just it was a fun time though. It was a funny time. And yeah, this made us all thirsty for some new N.W.A, no doubt. Cube mentions that in the track too. Wishing they could reunite N.W.A. Yes, please. Only one problem. We didn't have Eazy-E. I don't know. They thought Snoop could help. Don Mega. This was the Don Mega era. Ice Cube was on that Don Mega shit. You remember War and Peace, right? Don Mega. right after Players Club. Ice Cube, man, on top of his game, on top of it. Ren matches with Cube pretty well here, man. Cube is obviously a little more braggadocious, a little more confident and cocky. Ren leans more into his mafia style, you know, but he doesn't lose himself, man. He's still the villain on here. It's pretty dope shit. The track, the beat, all dope shit, man. We got a little bit of Mac 10. Well, we got like a sample of Mac 10 towards the end, which was pretty dope, you know. Just kind of put that West Coast stamp on this track. Real gangsta shit, man. Real gangsta shit. So, you know, we're cruising, and man, we're going back to the next track. We're moving forward to the next track. I mean, that last track, pretty dope. Next track, though, we finally get a repeat producer. This is Voyage to Compton, and this one has T-Mix again. Now, I have never heard T-Mix do a beat like this. Like I said earlier, though, I'm not a suave house expert. Maybe this type of shit was a T-Mix's thing. But this was a cool track, you know. This is one of those tracks, it's a space age pimp track, but it seems to me that it's better with time. Like, I like this song a lot better than I did back then. Not that I hated it back then, but it was just kind of like, I don't know. I thought it was kind of like a love song. I mean, it's kind of a love song, but it's more of it's like a love song to Compton, you know? And of course he has his little sexcapades in here, but all Ren albums have that, right? I mean, sometimes they're pretty pornographic and borderline rapey. Although he did skip that on a Villain in Black. But this is just Ren in his element, doing his thing, you know. Voyage to Compton. It's a slow, smooth beat. I think it helps break the record up a bit, you know. It's like a breather track. Like halftime maybe, or maybe this was the last song on side A. I don't know. I don't have the cassette yet. It's coming though. I like throwback lyrics though, you know. You know, it's cool. It's very visual. What can you do, man? It's so visual. It's dope. So, and guess what? The next track is T-Mix again. The T-Mix saga continued with Must Be High. Arguably one of T-Mix's greatest beats ever. That menacing bass guitar, naturally molded for that Ren vibe. You know, Ren proves here that he can rap just as fast as the best of them, you know. Let's be real. MC Ren was rapping fast before Bone Thugs and Harmony came on the scene. But he didn't make a genre out of it. He just kind of like, you know, threw it in every now and then. Like an occasional injection of speed. In this track, can you imagine? Maybe, just maybe, one in a multiverse far away, Bone Thugs on this shit. I mean, mind blown thinking about it. Bone Thugs on a T-Mix track. Oh, with MC Ren. Oh, and Ren rapping like this? Damn. That would have been mind blowing. What's with Bone and Ren anyways? You ever wonder about that? Why didn't they collab? You know, they collabed in a video. I mean, it looked like it was a mandatory to be there. Tamika was there. So it probably was mandatory. It was like a business meeting. I don't know. I have a feeling that, you know, back then, Ren was a made man already. He had done his records, made his money. Bone was hungry. hanging out with E, and E was deep in his beef with Death Row. Somehow Ren got lost in the mix here. Miscommunication. Who knows, man? You know, Death Row, the beef had nothing to do with Ren, really. In fact, I think I read that they offered Ren a roster spot, but he didn't really want to take it. So, now we got the T-Mix tracks out of the way. That was 3 tracks, man. Let's go to the next track here, man. LT Hutton, Back in the House. Snoop Dogg and RBX on this track. Boom. Like, this is the Death Row Ruthless Record marriage track. So far you're thinking, damn, the producers on this are fucking banging. Like, fucking banging. Let's be real, man. This hook is catchy as hell, too. This is LT Hutton doing something crazy dope. There's this constant theme of Ren dissing clones. New booty rappers, you know, back in the day. He didn't call them that, but, you know, new batch of clones thinking they the shit, run around like Jerome's. Predictable. Now, how about the line, though, where he says, it's all about a gimmick. How does it go? It's all about a gimmick. Try to mimic original niggas that be on the nuts with no limits. I mean, let's call it what it is, man. That's a no limit diss. It's a no limit diss. Like I said, man, No Limit Records, very polarizing. Very polarizing back then, man. So, we got Snoop and RBX coming on this track. Smooth as hell, Snoop is, you know. This is the nail in the coffin for the Ruthless Row beef. It's buried and gone now. At least from a rapper standpoint. From a business standpoint, I don't know, man. I don't know if Suge lets things go and if Tamika was even a friend of Suge's or what. I've never even Googled Tamika and Suge Knight. Maybe there's an interview out there where they talk about interacting. But I would guess that it is not all good in the hood there, if you know what I mean. But I'm not going to put words in anybody's mouths. If you know something, why don't you write in the comments? Let me know. You know? I'd love to find out any dirt or these little underground stories that nobody really knows unless you were there or something. It's good shit. Now, how cool was it to hear RBX rise from the ashes from wherever he was? You know, I'm not even sure if people started to jump ship from Death Row Records yet, but all I know is that we weren't hearing any RBX. But here he is. It's easy to be ruthless, gangsters never die. Love that line, man. You know how some lines just make a record great? That line helped make this record so great because it always got it. It's one of those things that was cemented in my head. RBX saying it's easy to be ruthless, gangsters never die. It's dope. And you gotta love the way that this track ends too, with the Scorpion sample from Mortal Kombat, you know, as Ren is saying bitch ass niggas, and then you got Scorpion saying come here, like classic, man. LT Hutton, nice work, man. It's the villain. I love it, man. I'd say this is one of the best tracks on the record, you know? It's catchy. It's smooth. It's got RBX and Snoop Dogg on it, which maybe you never thought you'd hear those guys on the same track. But there they are. Dope shit. All right, man. Let's move on now. Shot Caller, the next track. We got Raw Steel on the beat. And I have never heard of Raw Steel. Back then, at least. Later on, though, I learned that he did a track on the Thug Lords 44 Mag Glock. That would be Yuck and Sibo. And then a track I haven't ever heard in my life called Big Chrome on Tommy Gunn's record. Tommy Gunn. Do you guys like Tommy Gunn? I never heard of Tommy Gunn. The beat, though, this beat is pretty cool. If anything, it's boiled down essence of gangsta shit, man. It's like simple. But the lyrics are dope as hell. It's like he's talking about this story. Or this is like a story about taking out, the top guy, the mafia guy, the guy who's running the gang. Taking out the shot caller. I don't know. It's pretty dope, man. I always thought Chill did the beat, though, because he rapped on here. You got Chill and Rock. Or is it just Chill? I'm going to listen here. Okay, let me just look here on Wikipedia, because I swear that I saw that they had Big Rock and Chill. I'm not sure I remember Rock on this song, though. I'm playing it in my head. When you see Rock and Chill. Yeah? Yeah, you do have Big Rock and the Chill. But when does he... Okay, the song, at halfway point, I have not heard Rock or Chill. Unless they're on the skit. So... Right now, I'm 2 minutes in. Ren's had 2 verses. Let's see who raps next. After the shotgun skit, or after the Uzi skit. Oh, geez. I want to get about Pilnya. Who's this? This sounds like Chill. It's got to be Chill. Rent, rock the chill. You putting on the vest. Man, like, I hate to sit here and listen and give you dead silence. But I'm trying to figure this out, man. Is this the Chill or is it Rock? Okay, it's Chill. Okay. So, what happened to Big Rock? Big Rock and the Chiller on this track. How does the song end, though? Maybe Big Rock is just on the hook. You gotta love... Now, I know, this is awful podcasting. Awful podcasting. But look, man, maybe somebody can explain it to me where Big Rock is. Is he just on the hook? He might just be on the hook and on the skit, because I think that was just Ren with 2 verses and the Chill with the 3rd verse. So, whatever, man. That was produced by Raw Steel. Next track. Ant Banks is back. This is another Ant Banks masterpiece, though, right? This track is number 9, called All the Same. Another masterpiece by Ant Banks. Ren's got some name dropping going on this track, which doesn't feel natural, but it's kind of a welcome vibe for a rapper who seems to isolate. All these bitches got AIDS, better use a hat. So, he goes through, talks about, or he drops names, He drops names. A little bit of Master P, Snoop and Dre, Puffy, God. Who's biting Dre and Snoop? Who's he talking about here, huh? Is he talking about the Dog Pound? I don't know, man. I think he's homies with Corrupt, though, so I doubt it. Who knows, man? I can't even act like I know what he was thinking or who he's... these vague disses, leave it up for interpretation. I hate that shit, because you're just like, I'll just insert whatever rapper I think he should be dissing, which is probably what I did back then. I don't know. I mean, he's dissing rappers like rappers with gold teeth, or at least he's making an example out of all of them, that they're all the same, they're like clones. They're just not wrong, Y'all remember that shit back then in 98? Gold teeth and crazy album covers. You'll be broke. Fucking fat bitches. Yeah, I don't know. No more name dropping. I'm not really sure who he's dissing. He didn't really diss like Puffy or Snoop and Dre or Master P, really. He just used them to rhyme, certain analogies or examples, whatever. Where he does start dissing people, he stays pretty vague on this track. That's not important. The finer points of this track are definitely the flow he has. And Ant Banks, of course. The beat is definitely some classic Ant Banks. Ren, you can argue, is at the top of his game here. He might be. I don't know. Villain in Black, pretty good. Just saying. I like the track, though. You got Ant Banks with a little bit of guitar in the end. Who was on the guitar there? I'll have to look at the credits somewhere, maybe, if it's even listed. If it's a real guitar. Just Stan the Guitar Man? I don't know. Big Jess, maybe? Who knows? Pretty dope shit, though. So, yeah. We got Ant Banks there. Next track that we got is Who Got the Street Shit? Produced by Touch Tone. Another unknown producer at the time. But if you Google him, you'll see he's got a pretty legit resume. Nothing that, really sticks out to me as being some classic gangsta shit, though. The track is okay. It's got some, I don't know, this sounds like it's Daddy Cool or Trigger Man on the hook, which would be dope because that guy never got, I don't know, he could have been big, man. He could have been big. Frankly, though, let's be honest, the track falls a little flat. It feels a little flat. This is one of his least interesting songs. Really, it's just the topics. It's just like nothing really going on here. He's just kind of, I don't know, kicking back and writing about himself in Compton, I guess. It's all right. It just feels like filler, it's a fine description of the gangsta world that he lives in or the urban life, and hood rats and marks and whatever. I don't know, man. Ain't my favorite track. Probably could have did without it, really. It just feels like it was a contractual obligation filler track. So, I've heard worse, though. I've heard worse. Let's move on to the next track here. Pimpin' is Free. Oh, yeah. Alan Tatum, Larry Johnson on the beat. Now, for a record that started off stronger than any record has business doing producer-wise, the names later sure have become more and more unfamiliar, Luckily, though, this beat stays fire and is worthy of being on the record. It's bouncy. It's hype. You bob your head to it, no doubt. Oh, and by the way, MC Ren out here singing on this track. How crazy is that? This is the Villain in Black, man. He don't sing. But he is here, man. And you can't even help but to sing right along with them. The pimpin' is free, 'cause you don't make money. Oh yeah, I said the pimpin' is free, 'cause you don't make money. Y'all know that shit's dope. And then we got Peeps. Who Peeps? I used to think that she was one of these female rappers from Suave House, but she ain't. She ain't. I actually found some tracks with her on it. I'm talking, let's see. And it was crazy. There's this record. Let me just dig it up here. I'm just going to dig it up. So, this track called Ret to Go has The Lady of Rage. It's actually by Bishop Lamont. You guys familiar with Bishop Lamont? I know the name is big. There's a track out there called Ret to Go featuring Miss Jade, The Lady of Rage, and Peeps. And it's fucking Peeps. I just found that today. And I was like, whoa. I thought Peeps was never to be found again. Like one track and that was that. She's got a few other tracks out there though. I'm still digging, man. I seen them on the Google. Now I got to find them on the Spotify or the YouTube. I say the pimping is free because you don't make money. Oh, yeah. Peeps finishes off the track, and she's dope, man. I like Peeps. I wish she did more. I really do wish she did more. She's got a dope voice, She's impressive, You got to love female rappers when the ones that you like, They weren't always like dope or as skilled as you might think they were, just because there's a ton of them in 2023. There's a ton of female rappers. Back in 98, there was not. And they weren't all that. All of them were not all that. Trust me, they were not all skilled or great. So y'all probably take it for granted these days. Either way, love the track. It's perfect. Let's move on to the final track here. CPT All Day. We got Ren here on some real Compton shit. I mean, this beat is banging. The candidate for the best track on the record even. I mean, I'm just going to listen to it for a second here. I make dyke bitches straight. Then Lorenz Tate, niggas on the street, every nigga hood. Gets treated like Farrakhan, this shit is all good. Oh, you gotta love it, man. The beat is hard as hell, man. It bumps heavy. But the lyrics are just as fucking heavy. They match. This is Ren at his finest. For sure, candidate for best track of the record. Is it Ren's best song ever? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Because I don't know. Today, I also come to realize that the woman on the hook who is uncredited, at least I don't remember her being credited, and I always wondered who it was. It's Big Chan, isn't it? It's got to be Big Chan. I'm thinking about Big Chan on Alberna, and then I'm listening to this woman, and that's Big Chan. Is that common knowledge? Am I the last guy to know? I don't think I remember reading that in the credits. If I did back in the day when I had the CD, I forgot. But today I was like, boom, connected the dots. That's Big Chan. You gotta love it. What do you think about the name dropping he does here, man? Ain't nothing wrong with it. You gotta love a good Will Smith diss, right? Especially in 2023, where it's cool to hate Will Smith or diss him, right? I gotta say though, it's a dope track. It's a great way to end off the record, man. Perfect way to end off the record. Starts hard, ends hard. It's got a breather in the middle. It's fucking impressive producers. Impressive production, I should say, from Hutton, Banks, and T-Mix. Damn. A couple newcomers in there, or people that I didn't recognize, did dope shit. Fucking dope shit. I gotta say, though, this album may not be his best one. Maybe not. I don't know. But I'm going to give it a 9, you know? If Villain in Black gets a 10, this one gets a 9. You know? I'll give the record a 9. It's got one track that falls flat. But the remaining tracks are pretty impressive. This was probably Ren's last attempt at commercial success, really. Before Ruthless Inc., you know. If it is, or as it is, looking back now, we know it was the final Ren record before Ruthless Inc. It's a fine effort, really. You can be proud of it. And I'm confused because spiritually, this is Ren's last record in my mind. Even though he's had a couple more after this, like maybe even 3 that were underground, I've always thought Ren deserved better. Like better producers, better collabs, a better label. It's far too late, of course, now. A lot of, you can't rewind time. It's too late now. But we can look at Ren's career. We know how it ends. And we know that, this year he came out with Osiris, and it was actually surprisingly dope. But man, the lack of consistency makes it hard to believe that Ren is back, because he's disappeared often. Like, he disappears a lot. It's hard to trust that he's back. But at the same time, while he does that, doesn't it make you want more and more of Ren? Even, a couple decades later. It does for me. Anyways, that's the review. Let me know what you guys think. Is this your favorite Ren record? Is it your least favorite? Maybe it's your second favorite. You let me know in the comments. Hey, we out of here. Look at the show notes. Check us out on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. We got our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GangsterRapOdyssey. We're going to be actually checking out this cassette, Ruthless for Life, and just unwrapping it, letting y'all check it out. And we got more videos coming up. Peace out, yo, and Ruthless for Life.